Hey everybody, welcome to A Paycheck Away, where we are shortly. Oh, Charlie Schmidt is here. Charlie, let me bring you on here. Let's see, invite guests. Here we go. All right, Charlie Schmidt. I'm gonna look you up. Do 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 do. I put it in Schmitty. Oh wait, I think there he is. Can you hear us? Okay, Charlie.
You're connected to the Bluetooth speaker.
We are connected to the Bluetooth speaker, Charlie. Hello to the living room. This is Salaam Bhatti.
Oh, there we go.
All right.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to get you on my computer, but my computer is acting up. I don't know. It says, "Oh man, technology." But how are you?
I'm well, man. I'm staring at your face right here.
I know. Oh god, it's so embarrassing. Like so many people have been like, "Hey, I saw your face. I saw your face on either a mailer or on a ad. My 13-year-old came in the other night and was like, "Dad, I saw your face on Hulu when I was trying to watch something." like I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's
I'm so
weird.
sorry." Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's totally weird.
I saw my
It's
face.
totally weird.
I just saw my face pop up earlier today from the New Kent County event, and I'm like, I guess we got to get used to this.
Yeah. You got to do it. I mean, it's really weird. Running for office is by far the weirdest thing I've ever contemplated doing.
You are taking a break right now from calling voters, and we, thank you for your time for joining us right now. But
yeah, no worries.
I want to ask you, you have these calls and you say the same things over and over and over again, right? When you have to talk, or when you get to talk with non-voters, and when you get to talk with your family, your friends, how hard is it to talk about normal things beyond your talking points?
Yeah, I mean, what's fascinating is like I used to in my family growing up, we always talked politics.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that for a lot of folks that's you're like, you don't talk politics, especially around the holidays. But that was when we actually got together and talked politics.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel very lucky and privileged because my family, my children ask about things that are going on. I mean, they know, unfortunately, what we're dealing with right now. They're seeing the impacts of federal, immigration policy, healthcare policy, like all of that. They're seeing that impacting their friends and family, and they don't shy away from it. So when I talk to voters and we're out canvassing or door knocking, there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of concern. And then when I come home, my kids want to talk about the same thing. They want to know, what are we doing? Like, how are we going to address these problems? Like, it's not, there's not a wall between the voters and my personal life. And I think that that's reflected in the campaign and what we're doing. I think people see that. I think that makes it genuine for folks. Like, they're like, yeah, Charlie's going through the same exact same exact stuff as others. The people that he cares about are being impacted in the same way. His neighbors are being picked up by ICE. His neighbors can't pay for health insurance. And so there's no, unfortunately, there's no disconnect between politics and home. And I think that's important right now.
Amazing. Now, when you were growing up and you were talking politics, did that help you be like, is that what got you into the ACLU?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I had my mom was a teacher. My dad was a welder.
All right.
And so they were, you know, very focused on the problems of particularly working class folks and their neighbors. Um, I remember going with my parents to community meetings and being concerned about everything from environmental justice to what was happening with, just workers and basically like labor organizing. Um, and so when I graduated from high school and went to college, one of the first things both my mom and my dad told me were, the next generation is supposed to do more and be more. My dad was a blue collar welder. He was an engineer. He was an amazing person, but he was like, you're the one that's supposed to go to med school or law school, or you're supposed to do more. You're supposed
Mhm.
to achieve more than we have. I thought he had achieved a lot, but he was basically the one that said, "Hey, you're going to be the lawyer. You're the one that's supposed to. You and your sister,
Mhm.
your siblings and your cousins are the ones that are supposed to like rise above, not doing factory work, not doing day labor work, not doing hourly work. Y'all are supposed to be the professionals." And so I really took that to heart. And he loved the ACLU. He loved the union work they did, especially down in the southern states. And it was always one of those things that there was an expectation that I was going to, you know, be the attorney and and go work for the ACLU and sort of fight the good fight, because they were the ones, the teacher and the welder were the ones that worked 12-hour days and worked 52 weeks out of the year in order for the kids to do better.
Mhm. Mhm. Now you are running for office in a special election that is
Yeah.
happening literally on Tuesday,
Yeah.
and you just had a primary just a couple weeks ago. So tell us a little bit about what happened during this primary.
This was crazy. It really was. So Virginia, for those that aren't from Virginia, I mean, Salaam, you know how crazy Virginia elections can get. So as soon as in November, when um uh senator at the time Hashmi won lieutenant governor and was lieutenant governor elect, everyone knew that she had to resign her senator seat, and then they were going to call a special election.
Mhm.
So Mike Jones, my delegate, the delegate for District 77, jumped in and said, I'm going to run for Senate. He'd only been in the House for a couple of years. A lot of people were like, don't know if it's time. He had a really strong opponent, Deborah Gardner, which was the House District 78.
Mhm.
Um, and so it was basically like they waited um, to call the special election for the Senate seat. And the
Mhm.
reason they did that has everything to do with the constitutional amendments that they're trying to pass. So there's 4 constitutional amendments. They want all of those to get on the ballot, no problem. They don't want any disruption especially on the Senate side, because the Virginia Senate, again, for those that don't know, the Virginia Senate, it's 2119. They can't afford to lose any seats, and they absolutely must seat all of those senators when the general session reconvenes on January 14th. They need those in order to keep their chair positions so that they can get the constitutional amendments through and get those to the voters. So everyone knew that everything was going to happen really quickly. And, you know, most in every other state, and if it wasn't Virginia, they would expect that you would call a special election maybe a few months out and have time to reach out to voters, educate voters, let people know what's going on. Not Virginia. They gave us 1 week from from the time that Mike Jones secured the Senate seat to my firehouse primary was 1 week.
Wow.
Yeah, and we just had to do it. We relied on DSA, students, different community groups, dozens of volunteers, and just
And
went.
this is during the holiday time as well.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for pointing that out. This is literally mid-December to early January when all of this is happening. So, the party had its chosen sort of heir apparent. They figured, well, we're going to christen our next delegate for House District 77 and everything would be fine. And I and many of our community supporters were were of the ilk that no Democrat should run unopposed. Nobody should just walk into a position. Nobody should inherit a position, especially at the General Assembly, which is our state house. It's just the most, arguably one of the most important positions in Virginia.
Mhm.
And so we were like, well, we're just not gonna go along with that. Um, so we just threw in, and we are like, I'm sorry, everybody, particularly in these positions. I mean, House District 77 in Virginia is very secure. It's very democratic. Probably 80% of the voter turnout is, Democratic. And so we were like, we need to run on a progressive platform. We need to push the party towards these issues of affordability, protecting our neighbors, securing our future, making sure that we don't have corporate influence and or honestly, too much influence from our own party. Sort of, we wanted to make sure that we put forth a progressive platform. And we did that. We only had a week, but the voters absolutely loved it. So we were like, okay, that, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the party wants. It's what the voters want. So the voters voted for us. We won the firehouse primary, which is, so we had a week. They did a firehouse primary, which is not controlled by the state. It is run by the party. It was a Sunday, a cold Sunday in December, December 14th. And I don't think most people in the party expected us to win, but we won. We won by 60%. I mean, it really spoke to what the voters want and what the voters want to hear. Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. We just clobbered the chosen sort of Democrat, the insider Democratic candidate. And so, I think that really speaks to where Virginia is going, where the Democrats need to go.
Are you saying that endorsements don't win elections?
Oh, yes. No. My opponent got all those endorsements. She got all the elders to line up for her. And, it came down to like what people in the district wanted to hear, what they rallied behind. And really, most importantly, they wanted a message of hope. They wanted a message of, where are you taking Virginia? Like, what are you going to do to move Virginia forward?
It's not about going status quo. How do we go forward?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not about kissing the ring. It's not about getting the endorsements. It's not about getting the money. Everyone was like, you don't have any money. You don't have anything. I was like, no, we don't need any of that. We need people. We need a ground game. We need our community to rally behind us. And that's exactly what they did.
It's a different world now. It's an absolutely different world, and this is all for the better. So I'm looking at my son and I, my 6-year-old and I, were actually canvassing today. I brought him along.
I saw that. Yeah, that's great.
And he did get some ice cream as a reward. And he had a great time. Meeting people at the doors, and they were, your voters are very kind as people as well. They were engaging him in conversation. And the message of economic affordability was just resounding. Like, people are very concerned about. Oh, Charlie Charlie, you still there? Okay, good.
Oh, yeah,
I was speaking with a young father named Zachary, and he was just like, the cost of living is just crazy. My wife has the health insurance for her and the kids, and it's gone up such a crazy amount. So I'm really excited that, you want to doing something about healthcare. I know it's going to be really difficult with the state budget when the
yeah,
federal has taken it away, but the best way to do something about it is to have a vision for it. So when the General Assembly starts in just a couple of weeks, what are you excited about? Like, what are you going to be planning on doing? If
yeah.
elected.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, one of the most important things I think that Virginia needs to do is tackle healthcare, healthcare and childcare. When I first started, the first time I went down to the General Assembly to lobby and do advocacy, I was a young, bright-eyed student. I thought I'd change the world, of course. And we went down with a labor coalition, and we were talking. We were pushing for a living wage, and we were talking about food, housing, and healthcare. That like what do we need? What does every person need in Virginia in order to afford food, housing, and healthcare, and have sort of that dignity of work, be able to afford and afford their lifestyle, afford their necessities, and live comfortably. And unfortunately, 25 years later, we're still talking about
Mm,
those necessities. And that is obscene
mhm,
as far as I'm concerned. Like the fact that we have not done something in 25 years when we know what the problem is. And so, one of the things I'm most excited about is yes, there are a lot of people that will be asking for a piece of the pie. There is a lot of need when you have the federal government basically withdrawing from every social safety net, when you have them undercutting programs that are meant to help the working class and working families. Virginia's going to have to step up, and other states have done it. You look at New Mexico. I mean, New Mexico, Southwest states. I get it. New York, California. Everyone's like, well, those are big states. They have big budgets, all that kind of stuff. Virginia is one of the richest states in the country. We can do this. We just gave away almost $2 billion in subsidies to data centers. Like, we have got to stop the corporate welfare. If those corporations and companies would just pay their fair share, we'd be fine. And I mean, what's ironic is in door knocking, I talk to small business owners and they're like, oh my God, my insurance is going through the roof. And I was like, well, if the corporation that is in the same industry as you was forced to pay their actual cost, you'd be fine, right? I mean, we have to rethink and have a more progressive we have to have a more progressive tax structure. We have to rethink how we're collecting revenue to
mhm.
pay for these services. We absolutely have to stop giving away freebies and corporate welfare. I mean, we Virginia is a corporate welfare state, and we that is a failed state as far as I'm concerned. We have the money,
Hey.
we have the resources to be able to pay for the gap, right? Because I mean, what we're facing now is a healthcare gap. People are not going to be able to afford healthcare on the ACA or Obamacare
Mm,
health exchange.
mm,
We can look at helping with subsidies, helping to pay for that because other states are already doing it. Yes, it's a big ticket item, but the people that are not paying into the system are the ones that are benefiting the most from the corporate
mm.
system, like from the current system. So,
Are you familiar with Seven Hills Medical?
yeah,
Yeah.
I know it. I know it well. Yeah.
So they have a
Yeah.
really interesting model, right? Like it's a
Hmm.
monthly model direct to them, and it's like maybe
Yeah.
$150 a month or
Yep.
sliding scale. So it's like, what lessons are you drawing from that model to maybe talk about legislation regarding it, or is it something that doctors just have to come together and do it themselves?
Yeah, no, I actually have colleagues. I actually have coworkers that are part of the Seven Hills Collective, which is
Mhm.
fascinating. Um, yeah, I mean, a couple of things we need to do is incentivize that model. We have not we do not incentivize that model. We incentivize giant corporate
Mhm.
healthcare models. So first and foremost, we need to incentivize. Yes, I mean, I pay directly for a lot of healthcare services because I don't want to deal with the insurance. And my healthcare provider is like, well, it's actually a little better for us if you pay us directly, right? So, like, those systems need to be subsidized. They need to be on the same level as far as tax incentives, um, the support that large corporations get. Seven Hills gets no support whatsoever. I mean, it has its collective, it has its group, but it gets no tax break. It gets no support
Mhm.
from either the local or state government. And that's really what I'm excited about, is to think about creative ways to say, okay, for these smaller collectives, how do we, they're not going to meet the thresholds of
Mhm.
the giant corporate, economic development type subsidies and different things like that. But how do we look at these smaller, micro, and local collectives and say, okay, here's how we support you? It's through tax subsidies, it's through grant programs, it's through state support. Those groups need to be able to buy into the same systems collectively as the large conglomerates. And we're not there yet
And this is a
in Virginia, but we
this
could
is
be.
this is especially concerning because as a result of the Big Beautiful Bill, we've had several medical centers in Virginia shut down. So if
Yeah.
Virginia could incentivize some sort of model that helps them stay open under a new way, that would be phenomenal. You know,
Yeah. And
when
it
I
needs to be, it needs to be, Virginia needs to get over its issues with hyperlocal, and it needs to allow localities more power and more flexibility to do this. I mean, Virginia labors under the Dillon rule, so
Ellen Roll, yep.
yeah. Oh my God!
Yeah,
Every
oh god.
time, every
Mm,
time a locality wants to do something new, they're like, "We can't do it. We got to go ask the state." And it's like we've got to remove those barriers for localities.
it's like Washington, DC. Anytime Washington, DC wants to do something, they have to ask Congress. Like every single
Yeah,
city, county in Virginia is like that under that banner. So it's
yeah,
really, really backwards. So I'm really glad you raised that. When I was at the Virginia Poverty Law Center, and I love this conversation because it's legal aid and former legal aid, former ACLU.
yeah,
What a world, combination of worlds. We were advocating before the General Assembly, and we created something called the Virginia Food Access Investment Fund. And what this was it was a grant that people or organizations across the Commonwealth could apply for with ideas of how to improve food access. So instead of saying, hey, this is the way we can improve food access, we
right.
know that things are hyperlocal. Like you gotta something that works here is not gonna work there. Something that works there will work here. So it's like they were able to apply for this investment fund and win it and do things that help their localities. And it was a wonderful thing. So taking that type of investment fund model could take us places in the medical world too.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the thing. Like, 40, 50 years ago, when the federal government and even the state government gave out block grants, right? The idea was like they gave out block grants to localities, and a lot of times the block grants went directly to the organization. So first of all, you cut out
Mm.
all the administrative cost of middlemen. The middle organizations, the middle managers, that got cut out. I mean, we're talking state and federal grants directly to sometimes small organizations. The case I love to bring up is in San Francisco. The Black Panthers got money directly from the federal government to open a food bank. Right? That is unheard of now. What happens now is all block grants go to a state entity, and then they are gatekeepers. They bottle it up. They bottleneck it. They um, a lot of times have administrative costs, administrative overhead that is unnecessary. I'm not dogging the state workers that oversee these programs. But what we really need to do is, honestly, they had it kind of correct in back in the 60s, where, these grants would go directly to local, sometimes hyper local organizations like Seven Hills, like the Community Legal Fund, Community Bail Fund, different things that we're doing, community fridges, mutual aid groups, things that could get resources out the door much faster with less bureaucracy and less overhead than any sort of statewide model. And what we've done is we have sort of fallen away from what works, right, to what is most appropriate. Like what's safest. Like
Yeah.
we've gone to this safety model and said, well, these are vetted organizations. This medical organization, this insurance company, this healthcare provider, they're on our list of vetted organizations. And I get that. We have to be good stewards of funds. But when you look at where the community is suffering, how the community can benefit from these organizations, particularly these local organizations, those local organizations don't have a seat at the table. They're not invited to the grant program.
Mhm.
They're not insiders. They don't know how to navigate the systems that have been set up as roadblocks against them. And so what we have to do is, bypass. Unfortunately, we have to deconstruct and bypass a lot of the systems that have been set up. Ironically, they were set up in the 80s and 90s during Reaganomics, when there was like this whole, oh, we don't want money to go to places like the Black Panther. We don't want money to go to radicals in the street. We need to control these block grants. I mean, massive federal block grants are now being bottlenecked by the state, and they just don't make their way down to the local communities. Meanwhile, those local organizations, those local communities know exactly what they need and how to take care of those needs quickly.
Mm.
And we're sort of, you know, ignoring them for the sake of the bureaucracy and sort of this whole we need to stick to the system, which, I'm sorry, has failed a lot of people over the last 40 years.
Now, you're coming in as a progressive. There's a hot topic amongst progressives regarding guaranteed income. Now, Virginia has had several successful GI pilots. Is this
Yeah.
something that you're thinking on as well?
Yeah. We've had an amazing one right here in Richmond. I mean, my hometown is Richmond. The city of Richmond has piloted a $500 a month guaranteed income program. It is amazing. I mean, when you look at childhood poverty, and the drop in childhood poverty absolutely plummeted during COVID, right? Because we were getting money out the door, we were getting resources out the door, and all of a sudden you put money in people's hands and childhood poverty plummets and all these problems plummet. And I mean, I remember way back, again, going back to the Living Wage Coalition 25 years ago, we talked to lawmakers and we were like, we need a living wage. We need to put more money in workers' hands.
Mhm.
And the rhetoric I got back from lawmakers at the time were, well, if you just put more money in people's hands, they're just going to spend it on illicit things. And, we were like, so do you. The lawmaker, like, what did you do last Friday night? Like, that's not the point. The point is you put money in people's hands and it lifts them out of poverty. And having a guaranteed income stabilizes people, and it allows them to take the next step. I mean, I have seen it firsthand. We have seen it in Richmond, where these folks are guaranteed minimum income. I think the pilot program here in Richmond was $500 a month, and it stabilized those folks so that they could, get their kids in school, get health insurance, pay back their debt, get a job, actually have time to do things like go to a movie,
Mhm.
go out to eat, all these things that most of us take for granted. And that's to me, that's one of the most important things, is granting people that are considered by many to be barely hanging on to the lowest rung of our society. Like, they're the ones that need it the most, to grant them the space and the dignity to go to a movie, to take their kids out to eat. Like, that elevates their life to a whole nother level that most of us just absolutely take for granted.
Yeah.
And when we see that in Richmond, we were like, oh my God, this is so simple. And it's so cheap. Like, it really is not hard.
There's no
It is
bureaucracy needed for it.
no, there's no bureaucracy. Just there's no reason to make these people jump through hoops. Just give them the cash. They will spend it accordingly. They will spend it on their bills and their children, and they will take care of what they need to take care of. I mean, the most conservative state in the United States, Alaska, right? Alaska is the most conservative state in the United States. They've had a guaranteed minimum income for years because of their oil reserves. Every resident of Alaska gets a check every year from the state paying them for their, oil reserves. Every state in the union can do the same. I mean, we have the money. If conservative states can do it, we can do it too. We can, especially those that need it the most. It's amazing what happens when you tell someone, hey, you don't have to worry about funding this month. You will get caught up. You will get to have a breath and have a breather. And then all of a sudden, they start to think long term about, okay, where do I take my career? How do I get my kids in the best school? Where can I live? That sort of stuff. Like, it starts a snowball effect from just the tiniest little bit of investment.
And that's the one of the things that really troubled me during the pandemic was when they increased the child tax credit and it cut child poverty in half.
Yeah.
While everybody celebrated that, I wept because I'm like, wait, you could have just added another zero to the check and maybe eliminated child poverty completely.
Right.
And we're doing this, and we
Yeah.
put a sunset clause on this as well.
I know.
So it's like, if the government wanted to, it would. And if we have elected officials like Charlie in the government, we will. So, Charlie, we are 48 hours away from the end of election day, if my math is right. I'm a lawyer, so I'm bad at math. I don't know.
Me too.
Where's the watch party? Is everybody here invited?
Yeah. We're trying to secure a location. I think we're going to go to El Barco, which is on Midlothian, right by Powhite Parkway in Richmond. Everyone's invited. We're going to try to. We're grassroots. It's kind of funny. That's been one of our rallying cries when things don't quite go exactly, or things don't look quite as polished. We're like, grassroots.
That's right.
That's what we're doing. So we're doing it. We're doing it. We love it. You can't do it without our volunteers. We couldn't do it without folks like you. I really hope that what comes of the General Assembly and especially the redistricting and everything that could happen, I really hope that we get better districts and better representatives to Congress like you. We need that voice in Congress to say, you know what? This is the Virginia of old is gone. This is the Virginia of the new era. This is Virginia of 2026. Like, this is how we keep moving forward. This is how we keep making progress. But everybody's invited. We'll try to figure out where we're going to go. I live my district is a little bit. It's South Richmond and North Chesterfield, so it's a little sleepy sometimes. There's not a lot of. It's not the hippest part of town. It's not. There's not a lot of really cool places to go, but I think we found a place. So we'll let you know so that everyone knows. They can come out and hang out with us and watch the election results and have a good time and celebrate celebrate community, because that's really, what we're building here.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And last question from us. These are tough times. What is there a quote? Is there a movie? Is there a show? Is there family? What gets you through these hard times?
Wow. That's a great question. No one's ever asked me that. I think what gets me through, what gets me up every day and gets me motivated is my children. Because my oldest knows nothing other than Trump. My other two children, my kids are 13, 11, and 8, and they have labored under this administration and this chaos their entire lives. And I know, because of what I saw, the hope that Obama built, and before that, the movement that we have all been part of over the last 20 years or less, but still, that's what gets me up in the morning. I want to make sure that we have a future that is not bleak for my children. I mean, I know we there's an unbroken chain of progressive activism that has helped create this country and help build this country. And so I want to make sure that we continue that, so that my kids understand that, yes, there are dark times. Yes, there are times when they have to put up with chaos and craziness, but I want to show them that we can build a better future, and we're progressing towards something better that maybe they can't see right now, but they will see. And so that motivates. I mean, that makes me bolt out of bed in the morning and say, okay, we have to create that world, because it's not going to do it itself.
That's right. We are the ones we are waiting for.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Charlie. Thank you so much for taking time out of the last 48 hours to talk.
No problem.
And our crew.
No.
Here. And
thanks for having me.
And we'll be seeing you Tuesday.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Actually, I'll be seeing you right now because I'm looking at this.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, man.
Have a good night.
Later.
Bye.